Deeno should have been Michael's pawn. Instead, he handed me the enemy's next move, told me Obela had vanished with her army, and warned me about something even worse waiting behind Feldway. AI Anime and Manga presents. If you're enjoying these Tensura light novel adaptations, please like, comment, and subscribe. YouTube members get upcoming episodes early, and that support helps cover the AI narration, image generation, subtitles, and rendering that keep this series moving. Now Deeno's warning reaches Tempest, and I have to choose who goes to war. So I got word from Deeno, and what he had to tell me was seriously unsettling. Michael was moving. That part was not a shock. I had expected it sooner or later. The surprise was Obela. According to Deeno, Obela had left Michael's camp for parts unknown, and she had taken her army with her. I was stunned. In my head, I asked Deeno if he was kidding. Deeno answered that he was surprised too, and then he added the part that made it even stranger. Michael still did not know. Deeno was about to go inform him. Wow, he really was a huge idiot, wasn't he? With everything happening, was this really the time for him to get careless about reporting something that important? And before that, why was he leaking information to the enemy before telling his own boss? I mean, Deeno being like that helped us a lot, but still. I almost started feeling sorry for Michael and Feldway. Almost. Before I let myself get carried away, I asked the important question, where were they going to attack? Deeno told me they were attacking Leon City. Obela was AWOL, Deeno was stuck holding down the fort, and the other top brass were all on the move. Pico and Garasha had been taken along against their will too, so he asked me to give them a pass if we wound up fighting them. I told him I could not guarantee that. I would keep it in mind, but that was the best I could promise. Deeno thanked me and then said he had one more favor to ask. I told him to make it quick. I was busy and I was already preparing to set off for battle. Still, I let him talk. Deeno said he missed working with Vester, Ramirez, and the rest of the gang. Apparently it was boring up there, so he asked me to hurry up, beat Michael, and get him out of there. For a moment, I had no answer. I was stunned into silence. Then I asked if he had been hit in the head. He understood that this was not something he was supposed to say to the enemy, right? Deeno complained that I was being mean. Weren't we friends? Why was I being so cold? Then he remembered something else and asked if I had apologized to Ramirez for him yet, because he wanted to make up with her later. I told him not to give me that crap. I had already told him to go apologize himself. Deeno tried to stop me, but I cut him off. Regardless. Yes, regardless. I was not about to let anyone be mind-controlled against their will like this. I told Deeno to do his best to break free of Michael's control and to hurry up before he shamed the rest of us demon lords. Deeno laughed and said he would try. He knew he could depend on me. Nobody was better at leaving work to other people than him, so he hoped I did not mind him taking advantage of me. He was really starting to piss me off. I would expect nothing else from him. Then Deeno gave me one more warning. Feldway was in league with the Insectors. I told him I knew, and that it did not sound like good news. Deeno said it was beyond bad. Their king Zeranis might be even higher up than Guy. Deeno had only met him for the first time, so he could not be certain unless he fought him. But he was sure he would not win even if he went all out. Zeranis and his forces were sitting out this current attack, but Deeno did not know when they would act, so he told me to keep my guard up. I did not need that advice from him, but the intel was valuable and ominous. Hearing that Zeranis might outstrip Guy sent my despair straight to maximum. If someone that dangerous was leading an army and staying in reserve, we needed to be ready to answer the moment he moved. I thought about calling back Geld and the others I had stationed across the land, but decided against it. If the enemy targeted whichever area we left short-handed, we would be in trouble fast. We would have to make do with the forces we had on hand. I thanked Deeno for the warning, told him I would pass it to everyone, and reminded him to try a little up there. Deeno told me not to get myself killed. He did not have to remind me. I was on my second life as a slime, and I wanted to enjoy it for a change. It had been nothing but war for a while. I wanted to clean up this mess, take it easy, and have a blast with all my friends. That included Deeno, of course. So I told him to stay alive too. And I meant it from the bottom of my heart. As soon as the conversation ended, I called the cabinet members still standing by in our capital. We assembled in the control center. Argos was showing us Leon's base of operations, but the entire area was getting hammered by a blizzard. We could not see anything through it. El Dorado usually had a mild climate, so a blizzard like that was obviously unnatural. It had to be Velzard's work. There was no contact from Leon's side and no way to visually confirm the enemy. Communications were probably being jammed somehow. In other words, Deeno was starting to look pretty darn correct. If the enemy had deployed its main force, we needed an appropriate answer. We had to send support for the people already there, but if we misjudged it, the damage could be enormous. Send too many people and the labyrinth would be left too thinly guarded. Send too few and we might fail the mission. We had to thread a very small needle.
I see. So the enemy is on the large side then?
Benimaru's eyes lit up when I told him what Deeno had said. He was ready to go out there immediately, and I was not going to stop him. I told him I had been thinking of backing up our people with just me, Ranga, and Soe at first. But the enemy force looked stronger than expected, and we could be in danger if we held back. So I wanted Benimaru to join us.
Oh, that goes without saying. Who else will you take with you?
Benimaru broke into a giddy smile when I said I was bringing him. As long as he was going, I did not think he cared much who else came along.
Me, perhaps?
No. I killed Veldora's proposal immediately. He really needed to think a little more. Yes, it would be reassuring to have him on our side, and he would be a huge asset in battle, but he was also the enemy's biggest target, and I could not let him conveniently forget that. I told Veldora to remember that they were after him. Besides, as long as one of us was safe, the other could be revived. Both of us fighting at the same time would be the stupidest idea ever.
Perhaps I was careless, yes. Leave the labyrinth defenses to me, then.
I thanked him and told him I was counting on him. Seriously, though, we were in trouble. I was begging him not to try anything funny. With our problem child out of the picture, I turned toward Zegian. I asked Zegian and Apito to continue guarding the labyrinth. The enemy had serious threats on their side, so we could not afford to leave the place empty. Zegian answered that they would be on the job and wished me good hunting. That was encouraging. We also had the Dragon Lords on standby down there, so the labyrinth still had a respectable defense force. Trainee, Beretta, and Cheris were there too. I told Cheris to keep an eye on Veldora so he did not go out of control. Cheris assured me there was no need to remind him. He would keep a close watch on Sir Veldora so I could go into battle with peace of mind. Veldora sounded suddenly worried that he was being watched now. I told him not to worry about it. That only made him more worried. Then Cheris handed him a manga volume and told him to read it and relax. Watching Cheris all but force manga into Veldora's hands was reassuring in a completely different way. Cheris told me to leave his master to them.
We have the labyrinth well defended, and we are training hard so that we will not be caught unawares next time. I very much look forward to showing you the results.
Hopefully the opportunity would not come, but all this preparation was good to see. I nodded to Trainee. Beretta added that with the power I had given him, he was stronger than ever. He had not missed a day of training with Karis, and he had no intention of losing to Deeno next time. Right. I would trust in that. Whether Beretta could defeat Deeno or not, his team could not be that far behind by now. So I made the call. I would take Kumara with me. My deployment team would be me, Benimaru, Ranga, Kumara, and Soe. Not that I had no concerns. I apologized to Benimaru. I had made the decision without asking him, but he had the right to refuse. He had 2 wives to protect after all. Momiji and Alvis were both well into their pregnancies. At least, I thought they were. Monster gestation periods varied in ways that were honestly surprising. Kaidi had apparently carried Momiji in her womb for more than 300 years. Lycanthropes were strange too. Sometimes they developed as embryos in the womb, and sometimes as eggs. They were counted as the same race, but the diversity was something else. Alvis was ovoviviparous, somewhere in the middle. The embryos developed inside eggs that stayed in the mother's body until they were almost ready to hatch. She also had to remain in her animal transformation through the pregnancy. Apparently, keeping a human form required some physical strain, but that varied from person to person too. Monster ecology was still a very young science. I could not spend much time on it now, but I hoped some enterprising biologists or naturalists would dig into it someday. For now, the important thing was how Benimaru felt about going to battle while 2 pregnant wives waited for him. What mattered more, work or himself? Nobody liked answering that kind of question. And I was single, so it was not exactly something I had experience with. Not that I minded. I was not jealous, I swear. Besides, in my old life I was the kind of office worker who pulled an all-nighter on his own birthday. Having a girlfriend would probably have been miserable for both of us. Emotionally, of course, my wife would matter more. Practically, though, maybe work would. Without money, you could not make a living. But what was the point of working if you could not protect your family? It was hard. It would be nice if everyone worked for companies that understood that. In my nation, at least, I wanted to get as close to that ideal as possible. I did not want Benimaru to face marital trouble this early, so I wanted to respect his will. But Benimaru just laughed off my concern.
There is no need to worry. I will do everything I can to protect those I love. I always wanted to have a successor to take on my will in case something happened to me, after all. I would hate to get my priorities wrong about that.
I understood what he meant, but was he really sure? I started to press him, but Benimaru gave me a reassuring smile.
I am telling you, it is fine. This is the safest place in the world, and I have asked Hakuro to guard them for me. If worse comes to worst, I am sure he will step up and raise my progeny, so please do not worry about me. Besides, I do not think I could possibly lose, and I do not doubt your victory for a moment, Sir Rimuru.
There was something bracing and refreshing in the way he said it. Soe nodded his approval, and everyone else in the room seemed to agree with him. Maybe I had the wrong idea all along.
You are a very kind leader, Sir Rimuru. I am sure you feel that way because you were born in peaceful times. But in a war-torn world like this one, it is not exactly the mainstream way of thinking, you see. My daughter Momiji is prepared for the worst, as is Lady Alva. And more to the point, we also believe in Sir Benimaru.
Hakuro's words were serious. Momiji and Alvis had entered the room at some point, and they both agreed. Momiji said that her husband could not possibly fall in battle. Alvis agreed with her. She warned Benimaru that if he did something like die on them, she would chase him to the ends of the earth and make him pay for it. So yes, they were all resolved. There was no point in me fretting over it. I told them I got the message. I could not guarantee victory, but I promised that we would all make it back alive.
You are in good hands, Sir Rimuru. Win, and all is well.
I had almost forgotten how incredibly confident Benimaru always was. When he and Soe were together, it felt like there was nobody they could not beat. The same was true of Kumara and Ranga, actually. Kumara said she would do her best too, and that defeat was impossible. Ranga said he would do the same for his master. No matter who the enemy was, one bite and it would be as good as done. I was not so sure about that, but I understood what he meant. I told everyone this was no time to waver. We could not get worried before a fight this big. It was kind of funny that we were stepping up to protect Leon of all people, but we would do our best and put an end to Michael's plans. That was my declaration of war. I was not going to stand there and give my team a bunch of pleasantries. If I thought there was any chance of coming to terms with Michael by sitting down and talking, I would say so. But not here. Michael was dangerous. He had no sense of humanity at all, and he was willing to sacrifice anything to reach his goals. He was the worst kind of opponent. And at the end of the day, if someone was beyond negotiation, all you could do was step up and settle things for good. I gave the order. Let's go. Everyone nodded. I would fret over things once it was all over. With that resolve, I was ready to transfer all of us to the battlefield.
Route confirmed. The next episode and full playlist are ready.
Then don't stop here. Keep watching in story order and subscribe before the next part drops.